following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
On this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., we welcome back PBA Hall of Famer Danny Wiseman to the show. Danny's going to be joining us in a watch-along of his title match in the 1995 Splitfire Spark Plug Open. It was his first PBA National Tour title. We can't wait to hear what insight Danny has as we watch along with him and see what was going through his head through every single shot. Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. starts now.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Somebody does it!
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Grilled chicken from Popeyes. I'm on a diet. This is day number 3. I joined Planet Fitness. Been lifting weights on Monday and today, and I did DDP yoga yesterday. So you guys don't give a shit about me though. But yeah, no more fried chicken jokes, fuckers. I'm trying to do good. So, anyways, apologize for the delay. Our special guest was having issues with not being able to hear us, but he sent me a message saying he is good to go now at the last second. So sorry for the late start, but we plan on having a very, very good show for you guys. So, let me not waste any more time. Let's bring in my first co-host, the man with the golden mask, the resident doctor of Straight Up 5, the Howell House hack, Dr. Ocho. What's up, Och?
I noticed the melancholy in your voice when you say grilled chicken. And you're not enjoying it. I know that, and I get it. Is this just more of your passion on finding your neck, is what I want to know.
Also is our second co-host. He is the man with the name of the marquee. He is the sexiest man in the world.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
One and only. Johnny Petraglia Jr. What up, JP? Looking good. I like the Cutler shirt.
Thanks, guys. And absolutely proud of what you're doing for whatever personal reason it may be. And obviously, you know, you got two brilliant minds here in the world of body and nutrition. So anything that you need help with along the way as far as that journey, we've both been there in every single aspect. So that's I was actually really, really excited to see that message earlier. I guess the only tip I'll give you is don't really treat it as a diet. You're just putting yourself in a little bit more of a caloric deficit to kind of match your.
The word diet should be just banished from fucking language, by the way. Everything is a diet.
I'm
Your
making
diet
smarter
is what
choices.
you eat.
So.
It's such a vague, stupid word.
Yeah, you don't have to go out and eat kale salads and completely stop eating burgers and fries. It's if you're gaining weight, eating 3,000 calories a day, eat 2,500.
Right.
Well, remember, your body's going to request these calories now instead of just go, okay, we're already at our full. Stop putting more in.
And there's so many foods. there's so many foods that you can eat a lot of and that aren't calorie dense. So, I mean, we can, like we've talked in the past, like whatever you're doing, like great start. Planet Fitness is a good gym. I don't care what anybody says. They have everything you could possibly need in there.
Everything.
Especially now that they're adding some more high-tech equipment.
They have great machines. I like using their stuff.
They have great dumbbells that go to half of what Ocho needs.
Yeah, but when you really think about it, though, I mean, like I go to a Planet Fitness.
And then that lunk alarm goes off because they get mad at me.
Yeah. But like, think about it. How many people really use bigger than 75-pound dumbbells?
A lot.
People like us, yes, I understand, but in general,
how many gyms give away pizza on Monday or Tootsie Rolls or whatever the fuck it is?
In the 2 years that I've been in Planet Fitness, I don't see very many people pick up the 75s.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant what they're doing. It's like, here, use our weights, and also here's some fucking pizza on a Monday.
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm not saying it's bad for you, but like, look, if you're trying to be in a caloric deficiency, 2 slices of pizza is going to serve you all the sodium you need for about a month.
I love the pizza pump.
And
I'm not gonna lie.
You had it at Planet Fitness?
No, never at Planet, but one of my favorite all-time pre-workout meals is 2 slices of pizza and 1 shot of tequila, and then my pre-workout.
Oh, Jesus! I've never.
I leave there. I can't even close my arms. Everything is so pumped.
No, don't get me wrong. It's funny you said that. One of my favorite post workouts is pizza. No joke.
Oh, dude.
Because anytime. So like the real quick, Rob, before we get.
Yeah, we're already halfway through the show.
Better to eat your protein than to drink your protein. So for me, I always had a post-workout meal rather than I'd have probably a shake, but I want to bang it out. I want 100 grams because I'm in a freaking super deficient state. Even my glycogen stores are low, so I'll take carbs too. That's why I freaking couple slices of pizza and I'm freaking banging.
Totally.
But my pre-workout was just straight up coffee. I get so jacked up on coffee. Holy shit!
Makes me too jittery.
I need, and I'm talking 4 cups, and I'm ready. Pre-workout doesn't work with me. I get jittery on the pre-workout. Don't feel right. It takes me so much. My pores like so freaking open up, like I took a niacin tablet or something like that. So it don't work for me. But coffee, oh my god, I love still tasting it as I'm freaking getting in there. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the insight, guys. Appreciate that. We do have to get Danny, and he messaged me like, "Are we going? What the hell?" I forgot to check out our chat here real quick because we love our viewers. Nico, what's going on, brother?
We got bigger shit to do right now.
Chucky Ritchie, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Let's look for Rob's neck later. Yeah, that's you guys are killing me. Stangman's in the house. What's going on? Billy M is here. Pete Cow's in the house. Alex Bermudez from the Drill Press of Modesto. What's going on? Crambone. Bowling with the Fef. Diamond Cutter. That's right. I love DDP Yoga. The aforementioned Nicole Neff.
Hi, I'm super excited to be able to wish Ocho a happy birthday today.
And Kevin Brzezowski is also in the house. What's going on, brother? Nico wants to do JP, you doing better?
It's not about me tonight.
Well said. Let's bring in our very special guest. It's the second time on the show. We appreciate him being patient-ish and waiting for us to bring him in. He is the PBA Hall of Famer, Mr. Danny Wiseman. What's going on, Danny? Yeah. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
So I can hear you guys. Great.
Awesome.
Oh, my God. I figured it out. Do not use DuckDuckGo or Mozilla Firefox. It does not work.
Gotcha.
Oh, I had to go. Sorry, I had to get my cat out here. I had to go into Chrome, which I never use. I hate Chrome, but it works. So here we are.
Exactly.
Nice to see you guys. Good to have me on again. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And one quick little note. So I sent this link today earlier onto my Danny Wiseman Bowling youth scholarship page. So I don't know if there's any youth bowlers out there watching, but most of them are probably teenagers anyway, or the parents. So I still have that web page available out there because I do send links out for kids to get their scholarship money from the tournaments that I had in the past. So, but anyway, just didn't know. So, but it's your show, so you say what the hell you want to say.
No, we appreciate you being here.
We will
Absolutely.
keep it at a better level.
Yeah, sorry. It's all Ocho's
Hey,
fault.
real quick, for this so-called diet thing, it's not a diet, like Johnny said. There's a couple things. Watch your sugar intake. Knock the sugar out. That cuts inflammation out. Okay.
The
Sodas,
whites, sugar, flour, salt. The whites. Get the whites out of here.
sugar, all the processed foods and all that stuff. Just nix it. Just get a butter, eggs, bacon, steak, no breads, and weight will fly off. That's what I do. It's kind of carnivore, but I eat vegetables.
Right.
So, and I'll eat a cookie once in a while. Haven't had pizza very little in 3 years, which sucks. But hey, I'm also a lot older than you guys.
I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, Ocho's pretty old.
Rob, the other thing
I'm ageless and timeless, man. There's no way. But I'm old too. You're right.
I am drinking more water, JP. For a while, I was drinking Coke Zeros and Pepsi Zeros like crazy.
The John Daly diet. I like it. All right.
I'm down to like one a day. I haven't had any candy since I got off the cruise.
Water.
So, I am doing a lot more water and an energy drink here and there. But no, it's thanks for the advice. I appreciate that, guys. I really do.
No problem. It's everybody's
BioFreeze. Yes, I definitely have BioFreeze. I have stock in BioFreeze. But no, anyway. So I'm super excited to break this title match down between you and Steve Jarrell. We've had Steve on the show in the past, and he didn't want to talk about it. So because he was
I'm sure he didn't. And I remember the match before was the 1995. God, it's coming up on 30 years. Holy cow,
that's crazy.
The hairdo match between Mike Edwards and I is what we called it. We had the killer mullets going on in the comb overs and the slick mops and whatever you want to call it. So that was like I remember Edwards actually said that. He's like, that's a hairdo match. And then 79 to 78 or whatever it was, or 78 77, I don't know.
I thought that was the best hairdo match of all time. I was jealous of both.
I've never had that kind of hair, so I'm eternally jealous. Hey, Danny, if you turn your phone sideways, so it's not like up and down, you might be able to see better, and it'll be better video for us too. If your screen flips, there we go.
There we go. Yeah. Okay.
That's much better. Much better.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm a rookie. I just got to get this thing to set now. Hold on, might flip upside down here.
That's all right. We'll.
Yep, it's gonna flip. Okay,
we'll educate you a little bit. So.
Yeah, I'm old. Christ. Now I got to move my seat.
I know we're such pains in the back.
Knocking my stuff off the thing here. How's that? Is that better? Oh, there's more crap in there now too.
I think I spy a powder.
The Erie ball's right there where my thumb's at.
Nice.
Do I spy a powder blue hammer and a critical mass code red, or is that just
that's the code red right there with the Erie Eastway Lanes thing. But I won the match you're talking about. It's cracked in half. That right there. These are all balls that I made shows with. Blue Hammer's the one with my dad from '92. That ball's there, and a couple other ones. Riverside in '90. I got most of my show balls. The only one I don't have actually is my last one with Fagan. I don't know what happened. I had a bunch of cells and they cracked, and I threw them out. And one of them probably was that title ball. So I don't have that.
Well, you got the trophy, right? So I mean, it's at least you got.
I have that. Yes, that was posted earlier last week.
It's like throwing a no hitter, man. You keep the ball too. Like I feel like that's what
they're all back there.
I see it, man.
It's only 12 of them, but there's some show
like
balls.
Mom took care of that. Like she was the one who kind of like
early on all the
for you. She made sure that nothing got chucked away or something.
Well, early on, all my early trophies, which I'm staring at right here. I got my first trophy. I think it's from that's 1977.
I was 1 year old.
Yeah, let's see. I think this is the first one. High average, 1976, 1977. These are the ones my mom kept
Does
that
it
were
say
put
what the
away.
average was on it or no?
What's that?
Does it say what the average was on it?
No, it doesn't. But let's see, 76, 77, probably 127. I was in the little kids department then, the little guys, throwing the 10-pound ball, up the middle like Mark Roth.
I love it.
So, I got all this stuff. Yeah, but she kept all this stuff, and I unearthed it when we moved to Florida, and I'm just going through everything. I had to fix some of the trophies, and and they're just all out here. I mean, it's just crazy. And then it just goes around the room to, all the title trophies and balls and stuff. So I need a bigger house.
Even fun to put back together too, because like
It
sure
was.
as soon as you see the ball, you're like, oh my god, I remember that last shot. I remember.
Yep.
It's like I when people don't do that, I'm a little. When people like scoff at trophy shells and whatnot, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like it's not. It's not on display it's for you, and man, it's a humble brag of like what you worked for. You didn't do this just for shits and giggles. This was your job. This was how you supported.
Well, early on it was fun, and
of course,
it led to the 24/7 for 20 years of bowling against the best in the world.
Because if it was easy,
John, that
would
was your dad. It's just constant. It never ends.
It's not easy. Everybody would do it if it was easy.
Right, exactly.
You did it because it was hard, and that's why there's only so few people that did that like that. That's what separates everybody.
All right, that's enough. I would think that it's that they all represent a memory. You never really hear talk about the money. You never really hear a pro talk about anything other than the victory, and the trophy brings you back to the moment.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't, it's that's exactly right. I mean, the moments are memories in time, and you go back and you can. I probably could guess it. If I had the sheets, that first year, my high average, it was probably 127 because I improved like 10 pins or so each year. I could look at everything here and, remember, like I got, my second 300 ball I'm looking at right now, the second bowling ball I ever owned, I gave to a buddy of mine whose little brother was bowling. This was decades ago. And they found it down their basement probably 10 years ago. And they own a baseball card shop in Maryland. And he goes, hey, we found this ball. It's got your initials on it. We think it's yours. We think you gave it to, Scott when he was little. And I said, yeah, let me see it. And sure enough, it was the second ball I ever owned. And I got it right here on the floor.
That's so
what I'm going to do with it, I don't know. But
you know what, Danny? It's like talking about memories. It's pretty much public knowledge that you were one of my idols growing up, obviously, and still to this day. But the two memories that stick in my mind have to actually do with what Rob's idea was today with the watch along. Is number one, you got to remember the first time I really ever got into bowling was watching Dad's 394 because Dad didn't make a lot of shows since I've been alive. So at 10 years, that happened, great.
And I was there.
I think you remember at the Johnny Petraglia Open at Carolier, right outside of the coffee shop, they had a television that was showing other shows. And I remember watching Mike Edwards leave that double wood with that blue Omega when you were doing that code red at the Splitfire. And then being like, oh my God, I never saw this whole show. And I still remember wanting a code red because of that show. And then watching the Entremont, God rest his soul, throwing it at like the
oh my gosh, yeah.
But
I mean that was when honestly, he 2-8'd. That was one I got away with, and then I capitalized on it in the title match. Things like that happen. It goes both ways. I missed a 10-pennant rash in 06, and then ironically he missed one, last weekend. It was like, oh my God, I did that in 06 when that was like his second title, in Baltimore. So, it's just, what comes around goes around. It always works that way.
That's true. No, that's true.
The second one, like somebody already mentioned it, was when you threw the Ravage to win the Masters at Miller Park. I was in college, and I've always technically been under the Brunswick contract, but when it came to college, I could sneak a ball here and there that I really, really wanted to throw. And I drilled myself a Ravage, and to this day, because of you, and to this day, it's one of my favorite bowling balls of all time.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could find a 15-pounder. Oh. Undrilled one. That would be great. I wish I could find one of my 600 made Revolution, signature series that were mostly 16 pounds in Korea and Singapore. I've got an undrilled 16 here, and I think I sent you one, and it's like I wish I could find a 15.
Anyway, Ocho, sorry to cut you off there before. I know you're in the middle of something, but I had to clear my head there for a second.
No, that was it.
You have memory.
You just said what I said, just more eloquently.
When Johnny gets a thought, he's got to get it out because it'll disappear quickly. So
that's what happens when you get older. You forget, and then you just well.
I remember what I had.
I'm going to move my phone and try to turn this up a little bit. So
okay.
Sorry for a second here. I got it upside down. So
well, while you're doing that,
there we go.
A video, just a highlight package of the amazing match you had with Mike Edwards because it was a strike fest. So.
Yeah, it was. They were pretty beamed up. I will say that. I got to flip this phone again. It's on the wrong side. Come on, ball. Get up. One time for the week.
Johnny, were you a fan of this opening?
Baby.
Were you a fan of that opening?
My favorite opening of all time.
Really?
Of all time.
It's so cheesy.
I was me right there. That was the only shot right there.
Not back then. Not back then. Not especially after having had a personal connection with every single guy in that highlight.
Player, yeah, every one of them.
Yeah, there was no saying it was not cheesy to me in the slightest bit.
So you guys can still hear me, right?
Looking at right now, it certainly wasn't cheesy. 4,300 fans that year. I think the biggest crowd up until that point, maybe if ever, was right here.
Yeah.
In one of the best bowling cities in the world.
Oh my God! For a small town, that was. I always tell people, when they ask, "Where's the favorite place to bowl at?" Believe it or not, Erie, Pennsylvania, Eastway Lanes. George did a hell of a job up there, and it was. They just went all out. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I remember my early Firestones. They were, they lined the streets up with the placards going down on the light poles, and that was fun early on at the Firestone. But this city was insane.
And Danny, this was usually around Easter time.
Yeah.
So I would get the choice at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old to either go to Florida with my mom to see my grandmother and go to Disney World, or go to Erie, Pennsylvania. And I would always go to Erie, Pennsylvania with Dad.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
Well, here's the breakdown of
that was pretty. That was a pretty big breakdown too.
Yeah, seriously, 39,000 back then.
Actually, I don't know if you can see that.
Yep, we can. Wow.
There's a copy of the check.
That is so cool.
Hell yeah. And Eddie,
the last 4 outs on ABC television. You're in third again today. Are you going to change something, or what's going to happen?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to go right at them. They start getting a little tighter down the back end, and they're getting pretty close to how they were during the week. And I bowled pretty good in the morning, and just going right at them. Basically, I'm using the same ball as last week, and I got a very good shot. So we'll see what happens. It's a lot of fun.
Is there a third place jinx?
No, I'm going to break it today.
All right, he's ready, Chris.
I'm going to break it today. That was a great statement.
There was no fear.
No, none at all.
That was look how early that was. Whoops. That's a miss hit. Eddie threw it so good. Oh.
I got to give props to Eddie because my girlfriend's a Cherokee, and I know he's definitely an American Indian heritage as well.
Yep. I mean, he threw it so good. Oh.
And they both have that beautiful flowing jet black hair. It's awesome.
He really was powerful. I mean, he was.
Oh, he could play anywhere too.
Yeah.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could.
10 back.
You were lined up though.
Let's go.
It was. I think this might have been one of the highest scoring shows where I had a chance to break it, Nelson Burton's, and then the next year Bob Lurin just annihilated them.
Yep, that's right.
Look at that go 10 back. It's just amazing how that 10 back. It's just.
It's the performance on a couple. Obviously, the Learn show.
That was a whoops.
Nice carry.
That's good. Got that a little left.
Look at that. You don't see that anymore, man.
No, you don't. And this is what people.
But you don't see anybody playing outside of 10 anymore.
That's true.
Unless they're throwing your thing.
Right.
What was Mike Edwards throwing? Somebody wants to know. Do you
That
know?
was an Omega.
The Acrylium Omega from Ebonite.
Yep.
Okay.
That ball's pretty good.
Yeah.
It worked for him.
Oh, he got that
I
left.
had a blank one. I gifted it to one of our former guests.
See, he got that one left, so he dead missed right here.
Oh, man.
To lose by one.
Now, hold on, let
He
me
missed
pause.
left, and then he over-adjusted and threw it at hard and missed right. I don't know.
What was
I mean, that
going
was
through
like-
your mind, Danny, when you knew
Oh,
he
I'm
needed that
done.
strike? I mean, what were you
There's no
thinking?
way.
Really?
He's not missing. I mean, it's just we carved them up pretty good, and there was a slot right there, and everything blended to the pocket. They were very similar to that during the week, but when you had more traffic, they didn't break down the same way as we broke them down.
You guys missed either, though. I mean, guys were throwing right in the same zone, only within
Exactly.
a short area. Like, it wasn't like you guys were all over the place.
Right. I mean, there was a little bit of hold, and there was some bump to the right, but we carved that up. And you got to remember too, the bowling balls, the covers weren't as strong as they are now. They didn't tear the lanes up as much, and they were both shiny bowling balls. So you didn't have surface. You had a very good surface there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just I didn't think that I had no chance that I was going to be bowling for the title. So I mean, it's just
when you say that means it's not going to change drastically like it would nowadays. The change would be minimal, I guess. Over if you guys are throwing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I couldn't tell you how much I moved. I probably moved a little bit, but you got to remember that surface was really good. And again, we were throwing shiny bowling balls, so we didn't tear it up, and the covers weren't as aggressive as they are now.
I think that's something that goes a little bit missed nowadays when, like, even when you talk to some old school players that are, when it comes to even like league nights now, the bowling balls themselves, like you just said, compared to yesteryear, they rip apart the lane surface, and every ball rips it apart differently now, right, Danny? As opposed to
yeah, I mean, anytime a ball flares, it's only hitting in two spots, so it's only tracking oil down lane. As opposed to pulling it up through the mid lane as it's flaring, it's only touching in two spots. That's been for years, any ball that flares. The thing is, what you got to realize is something that my coach told me years ago. The lane surfaces, all the synthetics nowadays are way older. So there's so much more scratched up, embedded in the topography of the lane, then factor in the technology of today's bowling balls with the cover stocks. What's going to happen? Like you said, league night. You can start at around 8, 9, 10. By the end of the night, you're in at 17, 18 in the volume of the oil, chasing it left. Unless you go down, ball down and stay on top of it, which you can do. But most of the lane surfaces are so old now that they just, they just deteriorate quicker. That's my opinion.
Have you bowled on the newer certified strings at all?
No, I haven't. No, I've seen them. I'd like to bowl on them because you got to hit the pocket. That's what I grew up doing.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, will it affect, leagues and scores? And it could. I mean, but these awesome messengers like JP Lee, gets, and I get once in a blue moon. Those are a thing of the past. You're not going to get huge messengers flying over the deck and tomahawking the 10 and going back across the other side. Ain't going to happen. Yeah. But that's not. That's kind of the entertainment and where the game went to. I mean, I can go back to the Showboat. I think it was in 99. It was 3 on a show. It was me, Amlotto, and Peterson. And I threw a messenger with a gold pin at the boat. Of course, the boat, the kickbacks, black guards, it was much more, where, stuff flew. But I got a messenger there. I was like, it was unbelievable, with the gold pins. And that's one of my best ones. Now they throw them in. It's like they don't even give it we used to be like, oh my God, that was awesome. That was cool. Now it's like, whatever, I mean, I'm like, I got one of them once.
Changer. That would literally change the momentum, shooting a messenger across.
Now
it's like every other ball. It's like, you just
right.
10 pin.
Really is.
Now with the strings, guess what? That's a flat 10. 9 spare, you lose. You got to strike. You ain't going to get a messenger.
I have a question for you, Ocho, and like real quick, because based off what you just said, Danny, I remember watching the 93 JP Open and Kelly Kaufman leaving back-to-back solid 9 pins.
Mm-hmm.
It was like unheard of.
That was early reactive. That was early reactive too.
Yep. Nowadays, I leave way more solid 8s than I do ring 7s. It's like the new ring 7 for me. But Ocho, what do you experience? Do you experience what Danny's talking about in league? You're a 215 guy. You're pretty much up the lane. You typically play around the track area, say around 10 or a little bit right or left of it.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit right at 10, basically.
But do you go through it out there?
I'm always still right of a lot of people. And the other issue is these guys aren't hitting where they're throwing at every time anyway. So they're slopping a big chunk of it down. But like you said, you're only hitting 2, however much the ball hits. They're not repeating the shots on league. If I move, it's a board left, 2 boards left. Honestly, sometimes I do have to go back to the right because they slopped it up a little bit towards the end and the ball dies. But I also, you know me, I throw the ball too hard. I rifle it. So it's judging me is a very hard depiction.
Take the lane out of play.
I do. I'm not playing the lanes. I'm playing me rather than the lanes.
Yep.
So, but yeah, they're never burning up. Like our pal Glick will say, like, oh, the guy on my team has a ball that's so hard, it's like a Fred Flintstone ball, and I got to move so far left because of it. And he might have to. He's 70-something years old.
Yeah.
I don't have to, and I can. I wouldn't even know if I did, honestly, because I'd switch a ball or something like that. I'm that amateurish that
You stay in your comfort zone.
I'll find because that's all I have, really.
Right.
So I find what'll work, and but I'll see it. I'll see it. I'll go up a board or 2 left. If we all really are slopping up that spot, it'll burn. I'll go a board or 2 left and find it. But,
I leave a 4-pin. I move 2 left.
It's not. I mean. Again,
I leave a flat 10. I move 2 left.
If I hit
honestly, so I just started. Right. I just started going forward on the lane. I take like 20 steps, and I'm on the front dot, so I look like I'm shuffling like Laverne from Laverne and Shirley there, and I rifle it. But
and if that doesn't work, just do that.
I go overhand. So I'm a bad example though, and he'll tell you too, because I throw it. I mean, on our league, it tells you I'm throwing usually about 17.5, which is
I don't even go by that. That's awesome.
No, but it's not measured even in the right spot, so it's probably at like 19 or 20 something. I'm not supposed to throw it that fast.
Ball hits friction, it slows down. Sorry.
It's stupid. No, yeah. If I hit the dry, it's now all of a sudden 16. But if I keep it where I do, it's I'm not playing the lanes how they're supposed to be played, but it's a house shot, so I just take what I get.
Can you still strike?
JD Santa Lucia? Is that JD?
That is JD.
Sure
yes.
Holy cow, man! I've seen that. I've seen him a few years. I think it was I bowled what the heck's that? A UBA up in Pennsylvania or Jersey. Back when I was with Outrage from Maryland, and that was back in where the heck was that at? God, it might have been Delaware, actually. I hadn't seen him in years, and they just out of the blue, there he was.
Can you still strike in leather spandex?
Same way about you.
Probably, yeah. I've seen him in years.
He can still throw it. You got to see his son throw it now, too.
Sure.
He's really good.
That's crazy.
All right, so, Carolier, let's roll into your title match here.
Boy, see this one. I remember the Edwards thing more than the title match. Ain't that weird?
You should have told me.
I swear to God, I don't even remember who you bowled for the title.
Oh, come on!
I get into that zone, and I'm unconscious. I've always been like that. There's like no fear.
And right now we have 2 young men who are anxious to see who's going to win that $39,000. The second Splitfire
a little bit.
Danny Wiseman against
Steve Carros.
I think Steve hooked it, and I think, you know what? Pause it for a second. There's a story. There's a backstory here. So I threw a code red the week before in this ball, pin was up by the ring finger, and there was a 7.5-inch weight hole, which I can show you, overall across, from my axis, 7.5. So it's 2.5, 2 inches off my axis. Anyway, threw that ball in Windsor Locks. That's when Dion Tremont beat me. And then we went to Erie, and I used that ball most of the week. But that week they had a incentive, track did, for the NRG for on TV. If you used that and you won, the incentive was $21,000 or $23,000. right, with ball and shirt.
Wow.
I drilled one of them, didn't like it. It flared all over the map. And I used this ball. I think got $9,000 for winning with this ball, 8 or 9 grand. Steve was, I think, with Brunswick at that time, and they came out with the Violet Hook Quantum, I believe. I don't know. I'm taking a guess. I'm seeing if I remember this.
You're right.
And he drilled it, and he threw that on TV. And I think that was a show. There was another show he drilled a couple balls against me, and it was I think it might have been Grand Rapids. We bowled against for the title, and he drilled a couple different. I never did that. I bowled for the title, man. I used what I did to get there. You know, I tried, but I didn't like it. To hell with that. I ain't bowling for incentives. I'm bowling for the title.
Hey, Rob, before you go any further, can we talk about this major fuck up right here? Oh, sorry, this kid's here. This major screw up right here. Defeated Mike Edwards 277, 235.
Oh yeah, look at that. Never noticed that before.
I didn't either. Yeah.
What a time to pause it. I would have looked right past
How's that? That's 30 years later, ABC. That's 78 to 77.
One of the best matches in television history. How can you do that?
How can
and
you
they
do
messed it up. Wow.
I've watched it 1,000 times.
Wonder what it says on the little thing they do for TV before it. You know, they do that little bracket thing with the matches. You know, Walter Ray and Mike and me, and you know, what if they got it right on that? I have to go back.
Wait a minute. We just skipped to the title match. Did you beat somebody 277, 235 in the semis?
Mark, you bowled Mark Williams.
That's right, Mark. Did you bowl 78, 77 before?
Maybe. You know what? I think I did.
So maybe they just got the name wrong.
Oh yeah, because I had a chance for the record. I had a chance for the record on TV.
And you beat Edwards in match 2, and this says match 3. So they got the name wrong.
They got the match wrong.
They screwed Mark Williams.
Okay.
Yep. That should be Mark Williams right there.
I've watched this 100 times. I never noticed that. It's a good catch.
Dude, me too, and I've never noticed that.
That's so funny.
Wow. And we're talking about it now 30 years later.
All right, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
In a championship
wow.
match.
Drop it down, go.
Wiseman needs
I love it.
261 to break the all-time
261, yeah.
record of 815 set by Jim Stephanie. In reality.
Not a great way to start, but it could have been worse.
There was a little bit of time between that. I missed it a little bit, and I think I probably moved a little bit because of the time frame. I always moved 1 or 2 after a commercial break.
Now this is match 4,
right? This should be the title, yeah.
So do you remember how much the lanes were actually breaking down at that point due to the lights and all that? Like, was there a big...
Dude, it's 30 years ago. I don't remember what the hell I had for lunch. Oh wait, I had tuna today. No, I if you go back to the first match I was in, I could probably check where I was standing.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's just see my angles, and I could probably figure out, if I move 3, 4, 5, 6 on the show by the end, looking at that way. But offhand, I don't know. I was right of 10.
Right. Well,
I know during the week, we got in deep during the week. I mean, there was no question in qualifying and all that. We would get in because remember match play, when we bowled 8 games in the morning of match play, we came back at night. They never re-oiled.
Oh, really? You weren't
on Friday? Yeah, they didn't re-oil them back then. No, we bowled them to garbage. So it sat there. So yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
yeah.
I also didn't know. I like how you mentioned earlier about bowling for incentives depending on the ball. That's a first for this show. No one's ever mentioned that.
No, I mean, a lot of guys are on staff. I wasn't on staff there, so they throw them, that change at you there, and and it was all posted. They used to post all that stuff on the boards, and but there was an incentive there for that energy. I think it was 23 grand, and even the code red, it was 9 grand. I've got it somewhere around here. And what I made. But yeah.
And Rob, you got to remember something, man. In the mid 90s, only so many bowling balls came out a year. So like, I've said this a million times on this show. I remember certain points in my life based off release years of bowling balls.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Teal Rhino is 93, 94. I remember the Quantums are 95. The Piranha was 94. The Kuta C was 95. The Triton was 97. And so when these balls would come out, $21,000 to win with the ball, and everybody is watching ABC at 3 o'clock on Saturday. They're all running to their local pro shop to buy the ball that Danny won the Splitfire with.
Right.
Yep.
And then the prettier you looked, the more you sold bowling balls. Every time Robert Smith made a TV show, everybody bought the ball he was throwing. When Danny was on TV, everybody bought the ball that he was throwing.
Anybody, because they didn't pump them out left and right. I mean, it started in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it became relentless. I think when the Quantums came out mid 90s, and they were higher priced, and then it just kind of started that to where they every company was coming out with a lot of balls, and it saturated the market. And it's still going on today. I mean, it's just
we just had a Mike Flanagan sighting. I don't know if I've ever seen him on our show before. Mike, thanks for popping in the chat, brother. Great to see you, man. I hope
Mike Flanagan, check your messages in your eBay for your retro shirts. I sent you something. Never got back to me on it.
Come on, Mike.
The old Fab shirt, that's another backstory. I was with Hammer, believe it or not. This is eerie. The week before was Windsor Locks. I made the show. The first 7 weeks, I was still with Fab Ball Hammer, and they had a reactive Navy hammer that they tried. They were a year behind the reactive phase. They tried and true to that blue hammer, and when reactive came out, and when McDowell threw that messenger at Holman with that Excalibur, it changed the world in '92, and I think it was Riverside or something. Hammer didn't want to come out with reactive. Well, they fell behind, and I was on staff with them, and I actually had resigned Long Island. I drove back to Maryland and got with Dennis Baldwin. God rest his soul. He was like a father to me. I had to sit down. He sponsored me, and I was on staff. I gave it all up. Went to Windsor Locks, finished third. Went here and won, and had 80 some odd thousand in my bank account, and then never had a sponsor again.
Danny, one quick question about that, because you were talking about the incentive money for wearing the shirt and throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The previous week to this, in '95 at the Tums Classic in Windsor Locks, I think that was the year that you were on the show wearing the teal NRG shirt, but Jack Jurek won. I think he beat David Traber for his first ever title. On that show, Jack Jurek was wearing I believe a Columbia shirt, but he was throwing the Violet Quantum.
I think it's a wrong year because Dion Tremont won the week before at Windsor Locks in '95.
I thought it was '95, the year that you were throwing the same code red that you're throwing on.
That same code red, right? You might be right. I don't know. I know I finished third. Maybe did he beat Dion Tremont? Because I know Dion
on the show he was throwing the NRG wearing the navy blue shirt. But my question is, both David Traber and Jack Jurek on the Tums Classic show that I'm talking about, which I'm like 99.9% was '95. They were both throwing the Violet Quantum, but they were wearing, like back then they had shirt staff and then they had full staff, right?
Correct. You could wear a shirt and throw a different ball. They didn't have the combo deal.
So
yeah.
Resume changed, right?
That changed not too far after that, because why is a guy wearing a track shirt and he's throwing a Brunswick ball or vice versa, whatever, it's like they wanted it all. It was a shirt and it became a shirt and a ball incentive. You had to, throw the ball and wear the shirt. If you didn't, I don't know. I don't remember, but I don't know if you got paid for one or the other, or if you were in a shirt contract, if you got paid less for throwing the ball. I don't remember. That was something that, I know they changed it after that, because you watch the shows thereafter and guys are, either on staff, of course, or if they were independent, which there wasn't a lot of them back then, it was, they wore the shirt and used the ball.
Rob, thanks for putting that up. I was making sure I had my years right based off the balls. But so that was the year. It was the '95 Tums.
Okay.
But that was after you brought up the incentive money of the time, and way less.
And right now we have two young men who are anxious to see who's going to win that.
Yeah, let's get back to this watch along here.
Trackster.
They're bowling for 30.
I was just thinking that that Trackster dude.
That was scary because that wasn't my normal spare ball either.
Wiseman, who is an excellent player,
what was your normal spare ball back then?
Through 16 pounds. So just coming off of being on staff with Hammer, it was probably a pink hammer,
That's right.
I did have a nail that was, it was like negative axis with the pin in the track. That went dead straight. See, there it is, a Violet Quantum. Yep.
You're right.
And he's hooking it. So he's got wet, dry, and look at that ball flare. Watch how much that thing flares. It was unbelievable. And we didn't know that, the knowledge we have today about, layouts and drilling, but we thought what we thought back then was right.
And do you see where the pin is on the ball, dude? It looks like maybe a 2-inch pin with a massive weight hole.
It probably could be. We did a lot of big weight holes back then.
I really like his form at the line too. Like he really was just a classic.
And he could do anything too. I mean, he could play anywhere. I mean, it's amazing he didn't win more either. He could play up 1-2 or throw it off the left gutter. I mean, he was unbelievable.
Yep, that is the purple quantum. You're right, Johnny.
Say that again.
Watch how much that thing flares. Look at that thing.
I said that is the purple quantum.
Yep.
The violet quantum.
He was exactly right. And the second he said it, again, I went back to, because this is, dude, for Christmas, I always wanted the new bowling balls. So at 1995, I turned 11 years old, and I drilled a Violet Quantum. And I remember pacing in the junior doubles league with Darian LeMay and bowling my highest game in league at that point. I bowled a 247 with a missed with a missed 7-pin in the 10th frame. I had a chance to shoot 79 with that bowling ball. And that ball would come, remember, Danny, in that silk sack?
The bag, yeah. All the Quantums did. Yep. All the Quantums did. Hang on. Go ahead. Keep going.
Grit Scotch Brite. All the lines would still be on the ball.
I'm going to pull up my 1995 folder here. Let's see if I got some information here.
Heck yeah.
I probably got the Quantum catalog in here.
I love that.
95 folder.
I love that you keep everything. I really do.
Oh, there's all kind of sheets in here and stat sheets and score sheets and
need to put a
newspapers and there's a look at that. Just pulled that right out there.
Nice.
You're about to watch it.
I thought I had a Quantum catalog somewhere in here.
I actually won the 4th green quantum in a raffle at Bradley Bowl, which you were talking Windsor Locks. That was my home center.
Wow.
And I won my first JBT with that ball.
Heck yeah.
Oh, is that it? Oh, look at this. I got it.
But yeah.
There it is, the Quantum.
You have the original Violet Quantum talker sheet?
Yep. I've got the Sage.
That might be worth money.
The Sage.
Oh my God, this dude.
This is like bowling corn for John.
The Fire Quantum. Dude, I mean, I've still got to go through all this stuff and organize it. Look at this here. How about that? 6th title. I don't know what. I guess that was.
I would love to see like pictography, like a picture book of all your stuff like together. That'd be so cool.
Do what?
This is also a promo for an accordion folder too. I mean,
I'd love to see you put a book
There
together.
you go. There's the old talkers.
The original 4, man.
Yep.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. The original 4 were the Midnight Blue, the Aquamarine, the Forest.
Yes, this is after that. This is it's Violet Hook, Forest Green, Aquamarine, and Midnight.
Yeah.
This was the second phase of them.
I like the blue one.
The only person I ever saw throw the Midnight Quantum on TV was Parker at the 94 JP Open.
Yeah, that ball was.
Anybody else throw that one?
That ball went down 68 feet.
That Aquamarine, man, that ball was. I never threw one, but just like it was so goddamn pretty to me.
The Forest was actually very good too.
The Forest is that's like most memorable.
But then the Fire Quantum was the daddy.
And you whacked him with the Fire Quantum, and so did Dad. That ball was the original, not the remake recently. The
that would be that one right there.
Nice.
Jesus.
With the weight hole. Yeah. That would be the Great Lakes Classic.
Yep. Sure is.
That's so cool. Yeah,
I've
still
got
have my
20 years of business receipts in accordion folders, and he breaks out an accordion folder with his 1995 bowling info. That's such a promotion for accordion folders.
And my hand still goes in that thing too.
And I love because of the way the camera's facing, you look lefty right now, which makes
right.
Me...
It's a little worse.
It's backwards. That's such a baller.
Only you would think that way.
Yeah.
All right, back to the show.
So this stat here, struck on 20 of 25 balls. That's ridiculous.
What's that?
This is struck on 20 of 25 possible
balls.
I
did? Oh, yeah. 4-pin, 10-pin. That's pretty good.
That's ridiculous.
By the way, I got my number wrong, Rad Rob.
Yeah.
This was the record-breaking year. This was 7,200 fans, not 43.
Yeah.
7,200 fans in this crowd.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was like the whole city and then some. It was crazy.
Yeah, because Schenkel mentioned like 5,000, I think, in the beginning.
And
then they went to Joe Louis in Detroit after that.
Or maybe that I may be mixing them up. One of those, whether it was Joe Louis for the U.S. Open when Houston won.
That had 7,000, Johnny. That was the biggest crowd. This one was right there, and then the Masters when I won was like 4,800 or 5,200 or something like that. This was big for a little town. This was over 4,000 here.
For Erie, yeah. I mean, it's not like
You're exactly.
U.S. Open was the biggest.
Okay.
And Houston won.
See, I know a little bit about something.
Look at that hairdo. Jesus.
I love it.
That's why I loved it when I was a kid. I wanted my hair just like that. Still do.
I wish I had that shirt. I don't have that shirt.
The shirt I wish I still had was my Lamode shirts.
I got some of the other ones
too, right? That ball's hitting the lane and starting as you throw it. It looks like
it just blended out the that was
like
HPL.
No, nothing. Yeah, just hit the lane and started going. That's
that's HPL, and it was a new surface because they installed it. So there wasn't embedded friction in it. It was what we created right there. It's good.
See, you get the lane, you get the ball down that early, it's going to overhook you. And nowadays, but my God, that's beautiful.
It's just one big continuous C shape hockey stick or whatever you call it.
I feel like that's how it should be. Honestly, I almost feel like that's, only because I'm going from a physics standpoint. But
watch this thing flare. Look where he's playing. He's in the oil to the dry. Flat 10. Oh, that was hooked.
And Ocho. Display lanes where they would have the actual tournament for this event. One of the most beautiful set of lane beds ever in bowling.
Yeah,
almost every single lane bed was pristine, flat, gutter to gutter.
No kidding.
No matter what surface they used, no matter what installation it was. This was HPL. They used Brunswick. They used Pro Amble Pro. All of it. They were always just awesome.
And I remember we had talked to Jaros when he was on the show about how his release was the full follow through, and then he started doing that flare off follow through. He was a bed of info too. My God,
man, he was great. And
this he could do things. He was in our era. I mean, there was just guys that could trick things up. Jaros was good at it. Doug Kent. There was multiple guys that could do so many different things. You had your guys that hooked the hell out of it. Hoskins and Deion Tremont, and they could just peel on it. And then you had guys that were unassuming that could do it also. Jairus could hook it. Dougie could. There was a couple other guys. Once I went to 5 steps, I could hook it. Here it was more. I was more up the lane and Adam.
Let me ask you this then: Why didn't I? This is going to sound terrible. I don't mean to say why didn't they win more, because that's such a loaded question.
It's you know what? It is a loaded question, because you look at a guy like Ryan Schaefer, should be in the damn Hall of Fame. He's got it's all who you bowl, when you bowl, how you bowl, what you're bowling on, all those factor in. He had crappy luck. He made more majors than God. I mean, and you look at my rise. Early on, I mean, at one time I was what was I, 13-5 on TV, and 21-5 or something, and then 27-9 on TV. I bowled good on TV and I won titles, but there was also a period of time where I got my ass handed to me too. I mean, ironically, I think 48 shows. My first, all the way up till 1997. I never finished 4th or 5th, and had firsts and thirds. And then I've got the stat sheet. I think that's what it was. And then I finished a couple 3rd and 4th. I never finished 5th, but I've got a 6th and an 8th.
Right. So didn't make the show, but
I never finished
at
fifth.
least the opportunity to dance on it, though.
Right.
And I've said this before, like, because I know you guys do the scoring like golf up until the finals, and you can't. I get you can't do it, but in golf, the guy that's 12 strokes ahead, they don't have a reset and do a
You're right.
5 holes
Right.
playoff. So that you're right. That's something I guess maybe again amateurs like me don't think of, but when someone says, "Man, the guy had so much talent," and you go, "Well,
why did he win?"
But he still survived on tour for 20 years,
Right. And this right here,
itself.
this right here, this TV was a whole different animal.
Yeah.
And the mindset's completely different. Everything, again, we didn't have ball reps helping us back then either. We weren't going to daddy saying, "Hey, what do I got to do this, that?" We made our own decisions. So that was another integral part of this that people don't understand is, I was one of the ones, there was a few of us that, we just saw things and did things and trusted and committed to it, to our instincts, and just made it work. There was,
You could have a team of doctors there. You could have a team of doctors and surgeons there, and it's still only 12 shots. It's 48 games or however many you bowled that got you there.
42.
42. Okay, so and then all of a sudden you got your 12 shots, and I guess that explains it though too. You're right.
And the mindset that I always had was if I make 10 of the greatest shots I can make,
you'll win.
No one's beating me.
Right.
That's how I always approached it.
I want to add to this because this is actually really important, especially for all the people watching. Oach, back to what you said about, first of all, Danny and Tommy Jones over the course of PBA history have the highest winning percentages on television. Somebody that's very, very, very close is Randy Peterson. Randy Peterson's won 13 or 14 titles. He's won a world championship, the old national championship.
Right.
Randy didn't make a ton of TV shows throughout his career. Maybe made around the same as my dad. We'll call it around 48, 50.
That's where I'm at. That's about what I made.
And dad made 52 telecasts with 14 titles. Danny, you have what? 18 titles, 17?
No, 12 and 48 shows. And you can count the circus act things, the team thing and the doubles me and Doug won and all that is a show, but it's not.
Gotcha.
They would now.
Yeah, they would now.
But Ocho, here's the thing: we just watched Mike Edwards on one of Mike Edwards' earliest shows ever. He had a chance to win. He needed a mark in the 10th frame. It was sometime in the early 80s. I don't remember what tournament it was, and he leaves a
84.
He goes, "Hey, thank you." He goes a little bit high, and he leaves a 4-9 split, and he misses it. Yep. I'm telling you right now, Mike Edwards, I believe, I know he won the 94 Iowa Foresters in Canada.
Yep.
And I don't think he ever won another national title. But, even in that first game, after he throws the first 2 hits in the 10th and needs a strike to beat Danny or 9 to tie, I'm telling you, I know 1984 prior to this was 11 years prior, but I'm telling you,
he wasn't going to go high.
He was thinking about that 4-9, and that's why he missed. That's why he went light and double whip.
Wow.
Short memory. You have to have a short memory.
100%. There are people.
I texted Tim Foy that after what happened to him. I said, "Dude, on to next week. You got to have a short memory, dude. Forget about it because you can't let it get under your skin. You can't remember things like that. You got to trust your instincts. Done. Over. You screwed up. Learn from it. Move on."
Chris Vine, same way. Chris made back-to-back shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
exactly. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss. And we always talk about what's between the ears. I mean, it's if there's some people when their back is against the wall, they just throw it. And there's some people that worry about what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been the difference. Danny, Walter Ray, Pete Weber,
no fear.
There's no fear in the 10th frame ever, no matter what.
If you go down, you're going down swinging. Obviously,
absolutely.
If you
I get a ring.
You're going to fail. You're going to fail more than you succeed. It's how you learn from those failures that create success. And if you look at that in perspective, your dad Johnny won 14 titles out of how many events did he bowl? When he was a young man till the early 90s. Because you get to a certain point where you can compete, but you can't compete against the kids. I knew that. My last title, I was 42 years old. I was pretty well much done. But you look at, when you're relevant like that, you got to look at the perspective of it, 12 titles in 580 events or whatever I bowled, that's not a very good percentage.
Right.
But it is, but
No, wait a second. Hold on, Danny. But you got to also take into consideration the amount of bowlers that you bowled against.
Sure, absolutely.
500 and something events with 20 million different. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, we had
tons of bowlers, and you're up here with 550,000 bowlers down here pro over the course of.
No, I get it. I mean, it's it's a whole different level, and in order to beat the best, you have to feel like you are one of the best.
Yeah,
and
but then you're talking about your top 50. I get
Right,
now you're
right.
like, okay, these are the guys that.
But Ocho, like, and Danny, what you just said, just like the two things we talk about on this show all the time, just to put it in perspective for the viewers. Number one, Walter Ray Williams Jr., one of the best bowlers to ever walk the planet, his goal for like 30 years was to have more wins than seconds,
right?
Which is unheard of. And I think he's actually eclipsed it. And the other one is the best hitter of all time in baseball with a batting average is around 400, which means every 10 times they go to the plate, they fail 6 times. So Ted Williams.
Any ball game.
Talk about George Brett and Tony.
George Brett came close in 80.
Tony Gwynn.
Right, and these are the best in the world, and they're failing 6 out of 7 out of every single 10 times they go up to the plate. So, and I think that's what, again, we're talking about the brain. When you understand that, I guess it makes you, like Danny said, have a little bit shorter.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
you gotta forget things.
What's the first thing you said before? Like, it all comes around. It all comes around.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've gotten away with a lot of stuff on TV. I got some breaks, and I've made mistakes. It all equals out. But there's some guys. I mean, I can bring Ryan up again. I mean, the guy should have 10, 12, 15 titles. But there's luck involved in our sport, as we all know it. You could throw a perfect shot, solid 8. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. You can only get to the line, make the best shot you can throw, and hopefully everything works the way it's supposed to work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And unfortunately for certain players, they never achieved what they should have or could have because of certain factors getting in the way. I mean, I was pretty fortunate. Other guys weren't. But you know what? I know those players, and I respect those players. And I will always say that, J.R. Scott in the Hall of Fame. I watched that guy for 20 years. I watched Ryan for 20 years. I know how good they are. And there's other players, the same thing, and it's like, those guys, and I've told Ryan this. I said, dude, we all know how good you are. I mean, there's no question about that. So, that's where it's at. We've all worked hard to get there. And, I didn't start this journey to go I did not start the journey to be in 6 Hall of Fames. I started this to be able to go out on tour and beat the best because that was my goal, and I achieved it 12 times. That's it. So.
But that's what trips me up, though, because, like, again, you're in the Hall of Fame. You're known as a top bowler, and you're saying, by the way, when I saw this guy, what he could do with the bowling ball, and that's I mean, because you're one of the top guys. You go, man, this guy does all this. That's wild, and it's also it shows you're a humble guy too. You appreciate the talent that you see because you know how hard it is. But that's the thing too, and we go like, wait a second. Here's a guy that can won so many times, and he's still mesmerized by this other guy. That it's again, take it from an amateur status, but it's pretty wild to hear.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing too. Through the evolution of my physical game, like you see here, I'm still sliding a lot. It's nowhere near like it was in 1990. After this, as reactive became more and more stronger, and you had to start opening up more. My swing plane, my swing length, all that had to change. And you go into like 97 in the fall. I was not bowling good in 97. I went back, I picked the ball up, went to 5 steps, made myself not slide, learn how to plant, and I could throw it left to right. Well, the thing is, I used to sit up in the bleachers and watch, why is this guy able to do this and I couldn't? There's a guy from Baltimore there, Marty Letcher. Why is this guy able to do this and I can't do it? What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? I remember distinctly going back to Baltimore, to Fairlanes Dundalk for a week. I took a week off, And I learned how after sliding for so many years, 2 feet after I threw the ball, here it's a little less because I started working on it. And I said, you know what? I'm picking the ball up. I'm going to 5 steps. I worked on it for a week. I went to Pittsburgh and I led the tournament because I saw the lane completely different because of what was happening with my arm swing and my hand at the bottom and the angles that was coming off of it. I changed my game multiple times in my career, a couple of huge overhauls, but a lot of tweaks and different things going on because I saw things that I needed to incorporate. That's something that, I mean, I'm sure other guys did that too. But that
that's
was
even
part
more
of,
impressive. That's
part of the equation. That's part of the equation of being able to be successful throughout decades. And, why did I change it? Because the evolution of the oils, the lanes, the balls, the surfaces, everything changed, in periods of time. So you had to evolve or you're gone. And there was multiple guys that, disappeared because they couldn't adapt.
Yeah.
It's not like you woke up one day and said, all of a sudden I stink. It's the game.
Something's changing.
Updates. That's
recognize it and change to what you feel is according to it, to what you're seeing. I mean, again, you go back and you watch Baltimore. Well, look where I'm holding the ball at here in 95 because of reactive. I had to start throwing it harder. I had to pick it up. Go in and watch the 97 show at Pittsburgh. That was the first show I made with 5 steps, right? Then watch Oregon in 98 and then get into 99, 2001 where it started becoming, the swing got longer and longer. And, I was able to hook it. Watch 2002 in Chicago. I'm throwing it off the left gutter. I couldn't throw it off the left gutter here. You know why? I still walked right to left or left to right. I had to learn to walk straight and to the left to open my hips up. So I was still walking to the shot here. That was old school stuff.
Sure. You look like you're having fun here. I saw a little smile for you after that last shot. I mean, were you locked in, you having a good time, or were you still kind of?
Well, I knew I got away with something, so it was a smirk. That's good to know.
That's a great feeling.
Somebody wanted to know earlier, what was your arsenal back then? Because guys come in with freaking 20 balls now. Did you have like 2 or 3 balls that you brought with you?
Here's another story. So I resigned from Hammer 2 weeks prior to this. I went to Windsor Locks. I drilled 13 bowling balls. Couldn't tell you what they were. It was a variety of every company, whatever was out there. Code Red, and I think there was a Critical Mass. I think there were some Quantums and a Gold Rhino Pro was out. I remember that because I used that one. Forest Green. I think there was some Storm stuff, maybe Black Thunder, maybe. I'm not sure, but 13 balls. Yeah. And I ended up using only a few this week. And then, of course, I used this one in Erie most of the week, along with a couple. I couldn't tell you what else. I mean, I probably got my sheets somewhere that have the balls on it, but I don't know.
That's crazy. So this was your first title after 7 years on the tour. How can you explain, I don't want to say the lack of success, but why it took 7 years to win a title?
No, this was my 6th or 7th title.
Yeah.
I had 4 titles in 2 years, and then I won. Let's see, it was 91, 92. 92 I didn't win, 93, 94. It was 3 years because let's see, 91, 92 I had 4 titles.
Okay, I completely messed up then. I thought this was your first.
Yeah. No,
All right, man. Go, buddy.
No,
I'm trying to think now. 92. That was the year I lost my dad. 93 was divorce stuff. 94, and I got caught up with the reactive stuff. We didn't have it in 94 with Hammer, and then 95. So, yeah. So those 3 years are just a whiff right there.
This is your 6th or 7th title this show, right?
Is it? I had 4 in 2 years. I didn't win in 92. I didn't win in 92.
Rob,
it's my 5th title.
If you were to go back to the original intro sheet,
my 5th title.
It'll tell you how many titles, how many years on tour, age, weight, height.
Yeah, I think this was my 5th title. Because Grand Rapids, right, you know what? Hold on.
I messed that up.
Hold on. You ain't even got to do that, dude. So here's the Code Red right here. It's all cracked now. See it?
My God.
Oh, man.
So on this thing,
fine.
On this thing, I have a piece of bowler's tape with it written on there. See it? Can you read that backwards?
Title number 5.
Title number 5.
Okay.
So, yep.
Well, that's on me. I'm an absolute idiot. I said in my intro it was your first title, and it was.
There's the Splitfire patch right there. I think it's on my arm right there. On that.
So 277 was the average on TV this day. That's nuts. I mean, that's like
that was his 2-game average leading into this.
2 games.
You'll probably never see that again. Like
no, you see it all the time anymore.
You saw it You saw it in '97 when Bob.
Oh my God, Bob Learn. Yep, ran him over.
I mean, nowadays I don't think that. Nowadays I don't think it's possible.
I don't think we've
look at
seen
all the people
quite like we did back then.
There was a few bit of people there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the weight hole.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it's dumb for the
look at the
PBA
ball
to
track?
ban-
See the ball track, the shiny part? That
So-
shiny part is the ball track.
Do you think it's dumb that the PBA banned weight holes?
With the, here's my thought on that. I really don't care at this point now, but we used to manipulate, the cores with weight holes.
Yeah.
Changing the RGs and the differentials by what we did with them. To create reaction, which is the whole intent to try to knock 10 pins down on what you feel is the proper, manner. I mean, I would have liked to bowl with a yellow dot, 3-piece on tour 1968 or 1978. I mean, and not, thumb positive and finger negative, all that. None of that matters anymore. And it hasn't, even back in these days. It didn't matter. Statics didn't matter. It was where you had the weight hole at, what you did with it. I mean, every one of these balls here, for the most part of the stuff that I had, they've got weight holes in them because I would manipulate reaction with that. If I had a ball that I liked, didn't have a weight hole in it, and I thought I could either make it go quicker with the same surface or go later with the same surface, I would manipulate it with the weight hole and change the differential by where I put that weight hole at and how deep, how big, all that stuff. So, but in today's game, again, the covers are so strong, the cores are so strong, would a weight hole matter? To someone with maybe lesser revs and that it could, because it does matter. But again, you can draw up another ball that's stronger and change the pin to PAP placement to get the reaction you desire. So, I mean, it really it's evolved again, that word.
Yeah.
So what it is today. And will it go back to back then? Who knows? They could loosen up the weight hole things, but the rules. But everyone is, knows what's going on today. I mean, CGs don't matter, but the core orientation does a little bit in relation to that. So I mean, it is what it is. They've learned how to figure it out, and that's what they do. I mean, the main thing of most of all is the cover stock and what's on it. The cover, what surface is on it. The surface is what's touching the lane. So that's still number one.
Yeah,
1000%.
The ball's just a tool, So
I don't like his look as much as yours, but he's throwing it really, really well.
Oh my God! It's wiggling a little bit if you watch it.
It's wiggling a little bit, but he's really, really making some good shots on this show.
Always did.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, with that wiggle though, isn't he going to catch a little light mixer then sometimes too, possibly? Since it's
if he catches much as this ball's flaring, if it hits the dry, forget what happens, and it checks on him. There it is, right there. It caught the dry and burned up. If you watch that back,
that was a borderline rollout. Like it almost.
Yeah, well, it hit my friction. Right there, there.
Right.
Now it's flaring up quicker, slowing down. And then it just goes forward.
It dies off. That's an Amleto rollout almost, except he was high flush.
That was 2 left of that down the lane. That would have struck.
Yeah. And when you really think about it, Oach, if you look at the rest of this game, that's the second flat 10. Plus he had the 2-8. So his ball's been trying to chug the entire
flare. Yep.
Yeah. I got you.
This is literally what we bowled on at Majestic last night on lanes 25 and 6. It was very easy to get to the hole, but I'm saying that not jokingly. But if you ask, we had some good players on our pair last night at League, and you saw a lot of that on both sides. And the second you would try and create a little bit more angle, then you would get the swish and 7 for the righties or the swish and 10 for the lefty. Whereas lane like this.
Oops, I should have moved too.
Now, did you miss or did it just
No, I thought, watch that back. I thought that was pretty good.
No, I thought that's what I'm saying. It looked like you threw it the same way.
Yep, I thought that was good because you could see look where it's at. It's right on line.
Yep. It is good.
Yep, it just, I probably didn't move. And, nowadays, you go high flush, you move one or two.
You have to move before you even think you should. Not before you think you should, but you throw a strike and you go, okay, I see it. Could have been a 4.
I move even to this day when I see something, I'll move before, if I go high flush, depending on where the ball goes through the pins, I may move one or two. Because the next one, depending on how much traffic is in the area I'm playing in, depending on how much traffic is in my area and or down the lane, they're going to change by the next time I get up, if it's 5 players or 3 players on the pair, whatever, they change.
But that's because you throw the ball the same every time. And again, amateurs like me, we lay on top of the ball. We suitcase it sometimes, and we go, oh, well, it went
or overhand.
Because I suitcased it. Like, it had nothing to do with where I was standing. You've repeated so many shots that you're never going to let go of the ball the wrong way. And if you do, you go, oh, shit, I didn't hit it or something.
Well, that right there was, look at my face. I'm like, what the hell
what
was
happened?
that?
No, because that was exactly how you threw the last how many.
Yeah. What frame is this? The 8th?
Let's see.
So let's see. I got to make a move in the 10th now. So let's see what happens.
It's the 8th, Rob.
Okay. So I end up on that lane.
Now, when that happened, did you think, oh, I'm screwed? The way he's throwing the ball, did you
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the mistake that wasn't supposed to happen because I thought I threw that really good and I thought it was online. So, that's again, here we go to that, that luck thing.
Short memory.
That was like, WTF? What is going on here? That was butter and it hooked. Now I've got to compose. And I've got to make a shot here. Do I move on this lane now because that one barked?
Lane now, like you don't know what this lane's doing now. Like
I don't know what I did. I'm probably sure I probably moved. Let's see. I don't remember, but
and you still have the lead.
I threw that one harder. I threw that one harder, right in the same spot.
Yeah.
Yep. Did that go a little wider, maybe?
And then threw it like crap because that was the adjustment.
Wow.
So here's that luck thing again. I just made one really good shot. That was crappy on the adjustment. I threw it hard, missed it, and missed right.
You missed right. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Definitely missed right.
So this title is one of them ones where I got away with one, and it is what it is.
But it's also kudos for how well you bowled for the entire show.
Right, sure. Now here's the thing: in his mind, okay, this should be.
He's got to get rid of that flat.
Bang, 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 bang. Done. Game over. That would be my mentality. Your guys lost. Get up there, bang, 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 bang. And I don't know what's in his mind, but you give me the opportunity like that, and screw it. I'm foot on throat.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I got to think that at this point he's also worried about what's been so far.
Yeah, that is like a 2-inch pin. I just saw it. Yep.
Man, I told you that pin is short, pin and pat.
Yeah.
I still have that same glove, by the way.
Do you?
I do.
Why do you have Steve Jaros's glove?
I mean, not his personally, but I literally have that model.
That's awesome.
Now we're getting weird.
Wrister.
It's a wrist.
So he's hooking a 2-inch pin. That never even got up the hill.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like,
so it looked like he got all jacked up on that one, right? He fired that one
because he doesn't want to leave that flat 10 or that 2-8.
Yeah. So he got it in, and it never read the spot.
Yeah.
And I just big forward here, so maybe he moved. Who knows?
I personally,
that's what I think because he hit it.
That never got there.
He hit it. I think you're right. He moved a couple left.
Because as much as that ball was flaring, that shouldn't have happened. That should have came back.
That should have hooked, yeah.
But he took everything left. He took him and his target left. I almost wonder because he yanked on it. Well, not really. No, it hit. That's
never got the friction down the lane.
He didn't get to your spot, like you said, for the flat 10.
Was he trying to make his own line because he's much farther left than you are?
He was left to me. He was left. He was throwing a bigger ball and he was hooking it more. Yeah.
Mark Williams was in there too, but Mark
was in there too. Right. Correct. Yeah. Like I said, I was pretty straight back then. I could hook it, but it was because I walked left to right.
You see that track? That oil track was like,
dude, hell yeah. Like you were saying, that ball flared. Like that was like the hardest flaring ball at that time. And then obviously the mental mistake.
And now
Here, you take it. I don't want it.
You go from holy shit to like, oh, holy shit.
Uh-oh. I go back to that. Okay, make the move on this lane, butter.
Yep, game time.
You got to be sitting at the bench now saying, "Oh my God, I just won no matter what I do because I'm like not going to do that again."
Right.
Well, I mean, I never looked at it that way. My mindset was just like when I bowled Patrick in the Masters. I didn't know what he was bowling. You know, I could hear that he picked that. I probably wasn't watching, but I knew he picked it.
Oh, yeah.
So now it all depends on what he does here and what I need.
Right. You can tell by the reaction of the crowd too on top of the sound, right?
That was a flat 10 hit there too.
Should have been, yeah.
That was a good carry.
I don't know if he's too deep or like.
Always 2-inch pin with a weight hole. That thing's just puking on itself. Yeah, but we didn't know back then. He's trying to control the friction with that layout. Is what they're trying to do.
All right. So at this point, if Jaros doubles up, you need a mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you thinking about that sitting on the bench?
Probably at this point in time, what move am I going to make? How bad did I throw that shot? Was it that good of a shot? Was it great? Trying to compute in my head what I felt that shot on that lane and why did it go high? Was it me? Was it the lane? Did I overhit it? Trying to put all that together to figure out what move I'm going to make and then get up there and do it. So, we'll see because I'm sure I made a move here because I was not going to go high again.
Let's watch.
And a lot of guys we've had on the show have said it's so much harder to win from the 1 seed. They'd rather be locked in game 2 or 3. Just it's a whole different game.
You know what? My first title was top seed. The Masters was top seed, and I couldn't tell you another time I was top seed.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I ever was.
What's up, Chris? Glad to have you here, bud.
Wiseman weren't the best he's thrown all day long, so the match is up for grabs.
And if you're Steve Jaros right now, you're saying to yourself, I led this tournament. If I don't strike here, my tournament's over.
Yep.
You can just play it, Rob.
Isn't that crazy though? Like he led
the whole week.
Round. Yeah.
See, that's good too. And it stopped.
A little high.
And like,
but he kept it in the oil and it held like that. I feel like that would have been the shot at that point because no one's there. Like,
hence why we don't drill 2-inch pins with big weight holes off the axis anymore.
Right.
That's why I have a degree in physics and I have no clue what you just said. God damn it!
I'll explain it to you.
I won't get it.
I don't have a degree, but
got around that one. That's good.
Not a good shot. Yeah. And now it's like at that point, I'll tell you what, kudos to Jaros.
He did everything he could.
He did all he can do.
Back in the 10th after that disastrous 9th frame.
Yeah.
After being given a gift by you, Danny, respectfully.
Yeah, and look, I didn't fart around here, did I? I got right up there.
Yep.
What do we need to win here?
Harder.
Ready flat 10. So
I got it up the lane there, but I didn't waste any time. I got right up there.
Yeah,
I want to see where you dropped it.
And you could tell the how much harder you threw it here. And
yeah, and I stayed right there. That was the moves back. That was the moves. I mean, I was, stay right there and just get a little bit firmer because I think I did that on the left lane, but I missed the right.
I was gonna say you did. That was almost
never read it.
Same speed, but you actually hit.
But Rob, here's the thing, dude. What he was talking about earlier is the balls didn't chop up the lanes back then the way they do now.
Right.
Title match.
Yeah.
Danny's been in virtually the same zone the entire show. He may be making moderate adjustments front to back with his hand tricking out fine, but we're now finally seeing what you now typically see in like 6 frames of one game.
3 frames. This is a hard shot here. This was God.
I mean, you miss it, it's
Would
over.
you rather have that double wood that Jaros had or the 10 pin in that spot?
10 pin.
Okay, I got you.
Crowd's going crazy. Crowd's going
so many of them things.
No, I know. No, they're automatic for you guys. Even amateur make them a lot, but it's a little ass cheeky puckering sometimes when you got to win.
19, actually almost $28,000  10 pin. It's not automatic for anybody.
That's what I'm saying. But he'd rather have the 10 pin than the. That's badass. That's just.
And
badass.
you want to talk about
that
like
was
this?
3 years. That was 3 years of retribution right there, because the crap that I went through with losing my dad and then struggling, and then the crap with my ex-wife, and then not knowing if I could compete, and then changing my game, and then the ball company stuff, and everything was it was, hey, if I didn't do anything in Windsor, Locks, and here, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, because none of this would have happened. That decision that I made was one of the hardest decisions of my life, but it also was the best, because at that point in time, I never had another sponsor. I footed my own bill. I adapted my game through the years thanks to Billy Hall, because without him, I wouldn't be sitting here. We worked together on so many things, on changing to evolve and adapt to the environment over the years. And, that was a 3-year accumulation of just, a sport that I love, that I didn't know if I was ever going to, make it again. And I did, and that started to the next step, which was, okay, 97, I struggled because, again, that adaptation thing, I had to change my game. And once I did that, and then I started matching up better, if you want to use that word. I don't like it, but to the environment and just being able to adapt to it.
Danny, real quick, one of our longtime viewers, Mike McGlynn, earlier said that you had given him your hammer scandal. Just want to let you know that he shot 743 right off the press after the plug. So
that happens a lot. I'll get rid of stuff on eBay or something, so I shot 300. I'm going to send it back.
Chris Wilson says, one of the biggest accomplishments I had was beating Danny and his partner in a doubles tournament with my partner, Neil Vital. Danny has always been an idol of mine, and it was one of my biggest accomplishments I ever had. But the true thing that meant a lot was shaking his hand and giving him the utmost respect.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks so much. That means a lot, man. Danny, that's what we do it for. The fans are what matter, and to this day, I mean, it's part of the sport. You have to have your fans and your fan base, and you just have to be you. I mean, you're a professional athlete in a great sport, and I've met so many people, and I miss it. I miss bowling on TV. I miss, but my time passed, and I had a great time and a great career, and it's nothing I would do to change it. I wouldn't. The people that I've met, like that gentleman there, that means a ton to me.
What is it about bowlers? Danny, what is it about bowlers that just make them so down to earth compared to other athletes? I mean, they really are. When you look at everybody across the sport, I'm not saying there aren't some bad apples in the sport, but for the most part,
there are. I mean, it's in any sport. Yeah, it's
pretty approachable.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to, I mean, you hate to say it, but the money thing. We don't make millions. We are obtainable. You go to a NASCAR race or IndyCar race or any sport, you can't talk to those guys. They've got bodyguards and this and that. They're not approachable. We're in an environment that leads to that. When we get done, you bowl bad, you go in the paddock. If someone wants your autograph, you make sure your ass gets out there and you sign it after you've blew off steam. I've watched many guys not do that, and it pisses off the fans because they're really a fan of them, and it just changes their whole perception. And I've had it happen to me, a few times, but I've always tried to rectify it. And it's like, no matter how bad you are, these people are here to watch you. They're here to learn from you. They're here to ask you questions. You have to deal with it. And honestly, I went to the Tournament of Champions in 2018. It was my last one, and I made it through 2 blocks. Didn't bowl the last one because I done. I'm not Carmen. And but I sat there and I watched Belmo. And I watched how he handled the mob of people. Everyone he said hello to. Belmo gets a bad rap, two-handed thing, whatever. It's all about the person. It's all about what's inside. And I watched that man go through all these and stand there after he's tired as hell after bowling all day and signed everything, talked to people and whatnot. That right there is why and what people remember. And to any upcoming star, don't ever blow off a fan, ever.
Yeah.
Because these are the people. It's why your father is so beloved, because he always took the time. And that's why, he gained my respect when I first started out, because he was one of the greats, and I could talk to him like a normal person and ask questions. And all my heroes, the same thing, Barry Asher, Rob, Holman, all those guys they're normal people. On the lanes, you get the Pete Weber's a jerk. Off the lanes, forget it. You got to know the man. He'll do anything for you. Any of us will. But, the fans are what matters and what keeps our sport going. And that's the biggest part of everything.
Danny, of all the things you just said right now, first of all, one of the other classiest professionals ever is now in the chat, CDB, Carolyn Doran-Ballard.
Oh, hi, Carolyn.
The one name that we missed there is Parker Bone. And you got to remember.
That guy, he's above and beyond everyone.
Yeah. Parker,
I apologize, Parker, because you are the man. He's the epitome right there. I got Belmo in my head,
He talks about Belmo. Belmo's telling Rad Rob that he'll do the show from the airport on the way home.
Yeah, exactly. He'll do it from the plane. I mean, yeah.
Who get down on their hands and knees, and when they have a lesson, and the kid who averages 140 says the approach is too sticky, Parker goes and finds a bottle and cleans the approach himself.
Correct. Yep.
And to be able to do that, and this is for all of our listeners, when they walk into that paddock, you got to remember something. There's some guys out there, like Danny just said, fronting their own bill. You got to remember how much it costs to be out on tour for 1 week. It's approximately nowadays $1,500 at least, right? It
would cost me $40,000 a year. I mean, that was my number, 40 grand.
So if you are having a stretch of, say, 6 or 7 bad weeks, you don't have a paycheck. And now you have to go and use more of your own money to try and get a paycheck. And the fact that you can walk into that locker room and then have the decency to come out and appreciate those fans that are there, which make this livelihood even possible for you.
Correct.
That's what Dad always instilled in my brain. And fortunately, I've been surrounded by Dad and Parker. Now, look, everybody knows I've had my own fair share of problems. I've never been on tour full time. But if there's one thing I've never, ever, ever done in my life, is I have never, ever, ever once not shaken somebody's hand that wanted to shake mine.
Absolutely.
No, at any time, never, ever, ever will. I will never tell somebody to get the fuck out of my face. Sorry, again, F-bomb. I will never, ever, ever, ever treat anybody any differently than the next person that I meet, especially ones that want to talk to me or tell me how great my dad is. It's humbling. And it's like the reason the world goes round in the sport of bowling.
Absolutely. And we're all, all of us know all of us. I mean, honestly, someone's going to know someone who knows someone who knows someone throughout our entire bowling world. It's very small. Once that word gets out there that you were a dick, it moves. So, and people know who, there's so many good people in this sport. I mean, gosh, I feel really bad now that I missed Parker because him and Brandon stayed here at the house and then went up and beat our asses at a doubles over and under 50 doubles.
He'll bust your
and he stayed at my house. I didn't even charge him rent.
Parker is the epitome.
Palm Coast, they mowed us over. Oh my God.
Parker is the epitome.
I think I bought Nate Garcia. And or that boy was Sullivan. I don't know. It was one of them. And Parker and Brandon just put it to them. And the locals were so mad. And I'm like, well, you got to deal with me now. But now here's what you get when you get Parker and his son. Because it was insane.
The sportsmanship trophy should be named after Parker.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't get one of them. I was too much of a focused on task at hand and didn't hang out with anybody.
I wonder if in 20 years maybe that would happen though. Could they do that? Because
sure.
I think
they could, yeah.
They named a player of the year after Schenkel, who didn't even bowl. I mean,
and it's been they have the voice of God. Like if you have the voice of God, you're allowed to freaking have any trophy.
Well, what is it, Johnny? It's Billy Waylew Sportsmanship Award, right?
It was Steve Nagy.
Wasn't it Steve Nagy?
Steve Nagy. What's the Billy Waylew one?
They also had
Steve Nagy. I mean, this keeps the history in the sport
a few times, and they've renamed other awards too.
Right.
Like you said, Rob, the Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year. You had the Harry Golden PBA Player of the Year for a long time.
That's true too. He was tournament director. Yeah.
I think with time, I mean, they will give it to the best name to follow, and I think that obviously there's no.
Or they call it the Lady Bing like hockey does, and maybe we do that then. Let's just do that. Bring it to mainstream.
I mean, when I was a kid hanging out at Bradley Bowl, I would approach pros for autographs. The nicest people I ever met was like Mats Carlson, Pete McCordick. Pete McCordick was fantastic. He was such a nice guy to me. Nelson was, Bo was great to me when he was bowling pro-ams and all that. So, I mean, it's just, you're right, Danny. Like, you have to realize, like, these are the people that come to watch you. These are the people that watch you on TV every week. They idolize you. You're gonna sell more products and more, more balls if you're nice to them. And if you're a dick to them, you're always gonna remember. You'll always. They always say never meet your heroes, but I've never met one bowler ever that has never been a jerk to me. Not one. Everybody has always been approachable, and kind.
We talked about Parker being a certain way on the lanes and then a certain way off. Or I'm sorry, not Parker, Pete. We talk about Pete on the lanes. Pete off the lanes is a totally different person than he is on the lanes.
Yep.
Same.
I get it all the time.
You know what? It's Pete, as soon as the show is, as soon as the last shot's thrown with Pete, Pete will be so animated, and as soon as the shot is thrown and it's over, every time great bowling, a handshake, and it's the wildest thing because I mentioned it.
You just don't want to piss him off on the lanes because he will cut it. He will cut loose. It doesn't matter. He has no filter.
No, he said, what was it, Michael Haugen, I think? And he goes, he ain't getting his first one against me. No way. And then he literally walked up to Haugen and said, great. And like, full sportsmanship.
I did that to Voss, remember? 2 to win, brother. 2 to win. He went, bam, bam, take that. And then I gave him a big hug and said, awesome bowling you, man. You're a hero.
That's fun. And I mean, how can you not like that too, though? It's
respect for talent. I mean, you know what's going to happen.
For sure. It's entertaining for the fans, and the show's
it's like I tell Dana now.
He turns it off so quick. It's amazing. He throws his sunglasses, they break, and then he turns it off and shakes hands like you're supposed to, as you do after every competition. I grew up as a wrestler, so like that's literally what you're taught is you always shake the person's hand after a competition and you leave it there and be done with it. And it was the wild, and I said, man, everybody, he's always respectful. And what do you mean he's yelling at him? I'm like, no, he shakes the guy's hand, is not flamboyant, is very respectful after, as soon as that ball hits the pins, he's done with it. The light switch goes off. He shakes their hand, and he has a great interview, and that's what it is. It's a wild thing. I love seeing it.
I agree.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube, like all of us older guys now.
Yeah. Well, good, and thank God for that too.
But that's great. Yeah, because we can still watch it. It's fantastic.
I had somebody say, "When you going back out on tour?" I went, never. I mean, I'm 57. I can barely beat the locals now, and it's fun doing that. But it's, I know the priority is not that anymore.
Well, damn! Look at the over 50 tour anyway. You got
there was 3 stops.
You would win, but still, like you got hammers out there now too.
I don't care about that. I don't work at it anymore. I don't work at it like I used to. So, I've already been there, done that. And I'm not going to go out and bowl 15, 20 games a day to get sharp, and then go out and bowl. The senior stuff that I bowled decent in. I made the one show at the Villages deal. I don't practice that much. I might have bowled the week before a couple games here and there, and then I go out there and just, it's just that focus comes back and the ability to bring all, conjure that up, But, I don't work at it. I'm not going to go chasing that PBA 50 player of the year. It is, it's not. I'm not doing it. And it's like, it's not even about the money. I mean, this year there's only 2 stops in Florida. I don't know if I even want to drive across the state to go to Fort Myers because it's 3.5 hours. The Villages, my uncle lives there. That's a good one. That's probably going to be it for me. So I just have to go win that one.
When did you make that decision that it just your heart wasn't in it anymore?
What? Not
when did you make that decision? Yeah, just.
I don't. Well, number one, I'm not chasing it. When you drove in on every highway in this country, for 20 years and flown all over the world, it's just I don't even like to bowl. I don't even like to drive to bowl 3 hours across the state. You know, I just, plus you have to look at it. I don't work at this anymore. So when I bowl these local tournaments, like there's some tournaments around here, they have this thing, it's a team tournament. I bowled with O'Sullivan and a couple other guys that make it rain. It's a team thing. You have to have a woman and, you know, a senior and then 3 other guys or girls or whatever, whatnot. And we've always made the top 3 in that. And there's a bunch of teams there, but there's pots, there's brackets, there's, you know, all kind of stuff. And it's, I'll throw 1,000 in because I can double dip in the open and the seniors. And I'll make a couple grand doing that. And I don't even practice at it. It's fun though. If I lose money, I don't care. But, you know, it's one of those things. There's some local tournaments where, you know, there's this one here that I've won 3 times in a row. It's only like $500, $600. You know, a little bit of bracket money, this and that. It's just not. It's
but
just
Dan,
something.
I don't think people knew that.
I just still like the competition, but I'm not going to work at it and chase it. I did that. It's all back here.
Yeah. No, but I don't think people knew that though. I mean, unless you made it official or something, because everybody always says
no,
that.
I didn't retire. Right, I didn't retire, but I'm not bowling against the kids. I mean, I you know, when I went out and I saw Holman and Roth and, you know, your dad trying to beat up on 22-year-olds, it's a whole different element. And then, you know, I was 42 when I won with Fagan in 2009, and I was pretty well much near the end then, you know, and then they changed it with the ball reps could help the players a few years back before that. That was, I didn't like that, but because I was on my own dime. You know, once you get to a certain spot, you know, in your life, you got to go, enough's enough. You can't do it, you know, and you're seeing that now. Guys overstated their, you know, Weber, you know, a few years, God bless him, but you should have backed off and just bowled the senior stuff because you can't beat the kids, man. Your mind says you can, but your body, that don't happen.
But
MLS, you watch, you know,
even to go on the 50 tour, like you're saying, like you need to really hone
yeah,
in.
well, those guys do that, and they do well out there. But they're, you know, that's what they want to do. You know, I don't feel like driving around the country, flying around the country, like you said, Johnny. The expenses are way more than they used to be, and it's like there's no guarantees, and there's no money to create those guarantees of, you know, look how many shows did Janowitz make last year? How many times did he win? What did he make? 60, 70,000? Wait, what was his expenses?
Probably around 540.
30 or 40. Right. So you make $30,000.
Well, we'll say at least 25.
Right. So I mean, you know, but that's a different circumstance with John because he never had the opportunity to bowl on the regular tour back in the day. And him and I talked about it actually at Bill Moore's tournament. You know, when he made that show and won that. You know, before that, we talked about it. He would have won multiple titles on the national tour because of the way his mind is. You know, and that's what separates him today. His mindset is like that of when he was 25 because he never had an opportunity, and now he's projected it into today's game with his knowledge and his mentality, and he's just unbeatable. You know, he's just that good.
And you can say the same for Troy Lint the year before when he was healthy. I mean,
same thing with Troy. He never had the opportunity, so their mindset's different than someone like me who I've been there, done that, and I'm kind of doing it. You know, it's not a priority. It's just kind of like for fun. Yeah, does it? You know, it's not for fun, but it's you know, it's a different mindset. I'm not going to go balls to the wall trying to make a living or win. You know, I want to win a senior title. I'd like to win one. I got to win a regional because I've got 80s, 90s, 2000s, 210s, and I have nothing in the 20s. So I got to get 5 decades. I might be able to catch, left to do it. I might be able to catch your pop. 6 decades, or what's he at? 7 decades now?
7.
What? 7 decades? Jeez, a whiz.
That's
insane.
nuts.
But yeah. But
meanwhile, he's bitching. He's like, "Oh, I only won 12 titles." I'm like, Danny, I don't have 12 PBA cashes.
Oh my God, where did Ocho go? He had to go pee again?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Ocho is a jack of all trades. At this point, he's either probably mixing
Domestic
some
stuff. The kids got to go to bed. I'm right here. I'll be right here. Hang tight. Domestic stuff. Don't worry.
Domestic stuff.
Dave,
oh my God.
My daughter's screaming, and I'm trying to keep her out of it. I left her outside for a while. I forgot her.
No, bring her back in. It's cold out.
Yeah, I know. It's in North.
Hey, yeah, how's the weather up? Where are you guys at?
I'm in Jackson, New Jersey. We had a pretty crappy snowstorm last night, 3 to 5 inches. Roads are pretty shitty, but it's all melted already.
Yeah.
Martha's in Long Branch. You remember Martha from
Yeah. Rob?
I used to live in Connecticut. I live in Tennessee now with my wife.
Oh, so you're okay. So it was like 84 degrees here today. And it's going to be sunny and nicer weekend. Monday, it's going to be in the 50s, though.
I can't be jealous because when I lived in Vegas, I had to tell everybody
Exactly. Same thing. But it would get cold out there. I mean, we got colder. We went to the IMSA race a couple weeks back at the track, and it was in the 40s, man. It was cold. And it's a wet 40s, too, because of the water.
It's different.
In Vegas, it's a bone. You know this. It's a bone 40. If it's 40 in Vegas and it's slightly windy, there's no trick to stop it, man. It just kind of goes through your body. And
goes right through you, right?
Meanwhile,
it's like here, it's so wet. It's so wet that the moisture is the cold, and it just 45 here is a lot different than 45 up north. The way it feels, it's just it's crazy.
3 to 5 inches yesterday, but like 40 degrees. I was outside without a jacket on.
Yeah,
I was okay. I was all right. Out there in 40, I'm in like this big.
You're bundled. Yeah,
agreed. 40 is back home. Shorts weather.
Well, you know what? We beat the record from the last show I was on.
We did.
Yeah, it was hour and 30 some odd minutes. We're at an hour 40. Well, we had a TV show there, so that's cool.
We did.
Well,
my God.
We do have to wrap it up because I got to get.
Hey, Johnny, you got to see this here.
I'm ready, and then we can wrap it up. Rad Rob.
Let's see if I can get it in there. Look what I took from the PBA.
It looks like you commandeered a championship banner.
I did take it because I said I'm not going to be bowling any national events anymore. I want it.
So here's my last question for you, Danny, before we let you go. And as always, thank you for being such a wonderful, wonderful guest. Obviously, you can tell by the people in the chat how great of a guest you are. What made you pick those two colors?
I don't remember. I really don't. I don't remember because I look at it and I go, I have no idea. I mean, my regional one is gold and green, which was like my high school colors. This thing, I have no idea why it was. I think it was purple and gold, which I'm not a Vikings fan, but now it's kind of blue and gold. I wish it would have been orange and black, Orioles, but I don't know. I have no idea why I picked purple or blue, whatever it is. And it's pretty dirty. The top of it from them hanging it up all the time, all those years. It is absolutely, the white is like the color of a bowling ball. I mean, it's just filthy.
That's patina. You got to keep it that way.
Patinaed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The great Rich Karuba, one of my dad's best friend ever.
Yeah. I knew Rich very well.
He commandeered one of Dad's banners and gifted it to me on my 16th
birthday,
which
that's awesome.
The PBA used what happened to Johnny's banner. Rich wrote me a letter and said, just like keep this between us. So I think I can say it now.
I got it. It's coming your way.
I got it. You're not getting
That's awesome.
You got a new one.
How many people were in the chat? Because I can't see any of that. I have no idea.
You had about 50 something strong all night.
It's just different people coming in and out and all that. And
some stay the whole time. And truth be told, Danny, I mean, for almost 2 hours to have that many people be, and this is strictly on Facebook. This is not all the other platforms, but like,
oh, really? Wow.
The people that are right here, the fact that they stay here this long, and the amount of compliments we get for what we bring to the world of bowling in our show, and the guests like you that we bring here, it's very, very humbling, and it's why we do it.
Cool. That's cool. Well, you know what? You got to keep it alive, man. You got to keep, the generations out there. You got to keep the history out there, and you got to keep the new kids coming in and getting their perspective and point of views from how they feel and what they see about today's game, and then guys like me with how we perceived it back then and how we've adapted to now, and all that fun stuff. So it's intriguing. This game is intriguing, and you'll never figure it out. You just keep trying for some reason.
Danny, one of my good friends, Steve Sakis, asks, I didn't even know you had a pro shop, and if so, where is it?
Who had a pro shop?
Do you have a pro shop?
Oh, no, not at all. Nope, never did. I worked in the 80s at a shop called Dave Williams. I worked for Sports Plus Carmen Don, who were my first sponsors back in the late 80s, and when I went on tour. Jerry Frank Amano actually worked for them at that time, And you know Jerry very well. Your dad does, and he's in Vegas. And I worked for them, but I never owned a shop. I would do work in some, for my own stuff, like here at Ormond Lanes, KB Ormond Pro Shop. They let me come in there and do my stuff when I do get bowling balls. So, but yeah, never had a shop. No, I was always on the road, So.
Danny, you actually caught bowling, right? I mean, where the whole transition kind of started, right? Like, you were. There wasn't 35 bowling balls every year. There was the few.
No. I got my drill sheets from the early 90s with blue hammers and thunderbolts and black U-dots. And that was one year I probably drilled 60, 70, 80 bowling balls. And there was other years.
Are the same, or are they all different manufacturers and everything?
With different well, hammers. When I was with Hammer Staff, I drilled a multitude of hammer bowling balls. Different ones. But they had 8 or 10 different bowling balls. But, we drilled a lot back then, I remember coming home from the tour. Probably, let's see, I had my Explorer. So it had to be 2000, probably after my mom. So probably, maybe before my mom, probably 2010 maybe.
Well, yeah,
I came back. I came back with like 60, 70 bowling balls.
Oh, no kidding! No kidding.
Yeah, we drilled a lot.
When you so you were in the 80s or not really? Not.
I started in 90, but
so just as kind of like maybe the resin era started.
Yeah, we drilled a lot back in the early 90s. I mean, I've got, like I said, I've got some of my drill sheets from Lichtenstein. I saved them because they were bills and they had everything on there. But your
tote to the tournament was it 5, 10, 20 bowling balls, or was it just
there were times when we had more than the 8 allotted balls in the paddock. Let's just say that, and then there was 15 or 20 or 30 in the car, and then at one point in time I had a shelf on the truck that was one of the bigger shelves that I could throw 25, 30 balls in that. So, and then as the patterns changed and things happened, you'd weed them out, you drill, to go around a base that you had, depending on whatever the patterns were. So, it was always
what came first, the bowling balls or the pattern. Like, I feel like, because now we always see like they match the bowling ball to the pattern rather than using their hand or doing a little tuck or a cup.
Well, they do that stuff. They do that stuff too. But
I have to think they do, because they wouldn't be able to, be doing what they do if they didn't. But
no, they tweak things. But it's more. I don't know. I'm not out there, so I can't. I don't know. I can only see what I see on TV and watching bowl TV, and I don't know how that. The one thing I do see is the ball reps. Which I get it, because it's a business and they want their balls, their players to win, blah, blah, blah. But when I did it, it was all on our own. We made our own decisions on TV during match play, qualifying. After the blocks, we would get with the ball reps and discuss things and this and that. But mostly, in my case, and I said in my Hall of Fame speech, I mostly made my decisions on my own and figure out what I need to do. And if I failed, I learned from it. If it didn't work, it didn't work. If it worked,
even in the 90s, were they? I mean, I know there were patterns, but like they weren't like, you didn't get topography of it. You didn't get like here's where it's brushed.
No, because it was mostly wood back then. It was just a matter of what kind of wood, how old the wood was, just like today.
The wood, basically.
It's no different than today. You got most of the lane beds are very old. The synthetics are older now. Yes. So it's just like the wood back in the 80s and 90s. They got tracked up and they would recoat them, and then they get tracked up from the bowling balls, and it evolves. It's no different to a degree. It's just a different time period with different elements that change the factors of whatever you're trying to achieve, which is knocking down 10 pins.
I honestly didn't know that the drilling was that intense, even in because I'm in high school in the early
different layouts,
and I hadn't
different layouts, surface. Yeah, surface is always the main factor of the. We used to sand balls with Scotch-Brite. 220, 400. We didn't have Abralon pads, but Abralon's better on the reactive stuff. They found out. I'll still use some Scotch-Brite on some reactive balls.
For shaving down spackle off the wall.
Right. The maroon pads were the best.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's everything is old is new. It's just evolved. It's changed, No, and then I got something here, Johnny. You'll like this.
No more Luster King machines.
No, that sucks. Look at this one.
Is that an LT?
300 game.
It's
right there.
That's an LT.
This thing is it's got a split in it somewhere, but what's messed up about it is I can still get my thumb in this thing. Can you believe that?
You have a
That
rubber
was 15.
Weren't too bad either, actually.
Yeah, they're a little. The grips are sliding out. Their contours. They're
Do you
terrible.
intentionally tuck your
Send it
pinky?
back to Brunswick. See if they warranty it.
Yeah. Well, I got tape. I made the span longer as time went on. I must have sanded these holes out, and then I put tape in the front of the hole because the span was getting short. I don't know if you could see this. In front of those lifts, there's tape that I made the span longer because I didn't want to have to go plug it. I did it myself.
That's smart.
Dan. Hi, Dan.
That's like an 1/8 inch difference from. That's pretty cool. I just realized that.
That's
Your
cool.
name is like a newscaster. You're just now, I'm Dan with the nightly news, and here's
Hi,
my
Dan.
LT 48 bowling ball.
I'm not handsome Dan.
Let me get it early right.
There's handsome Dan.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I know you want to close out. We're at the 2-hour mark. What do you want to say to Danny before we get
2
out?
hours. That's got to be the max.
Danny, I always appreciate you. We talk just about every day on Facebook and share funny memes and stuff like that.
Fun stuff.
I always enjoy it. I can't thank you enough for being here, and I'm glad we got the technical stuff worked out. But you are a true class act and a true gentleman.
I appreciate it.
And, you're one of the greatest of all time, and we appreciate you being on here. And
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. I enjoy it. It's fun. I'm not relevant anymore, but I've got a wealth of history, just like, when I used to talk to your dad, about there's always something there, something you could learn. And, and it's fun. I love this game. It's been my life, and I always will, and whatever I can do to help.
All of your memories on display. Thank you for spending time with us and sharing a lot of them with us again tonight.
Yes, you're very welcome.
You
Thank
just said
you.
you're not relevant. I typed your name into YouTube and 500 videos come up. So cut the shit list. I'm not relevant. That bummed me out. Like this whole
I'm not because I'm not bowling anymore. But YouTube.
Listen. Relevance isn't whether you're out there. Relevance is what you've done and what your legacy is.
That's right.
That's relevance, man.
Legends never die, bro.
That's true. I agree with that. I'm just relevant, like I'm not bowling on tour. I'm not.
And you were being humble about it, and I'll kick the shit out of it now. Let me do it. Let Ocho do it.
A highlight reel of Bo Jackson breaking bats and Nolan Ryan's 7-0 against the Blue Jays earlier today. They're still relevant, I promise.
That's cool.
Is there a real Alomar that struck out, I think?
Yep. Bottom, the third batter in the ninth. Good job there, Ocho.
Hold on.
Mike Stanley.
One more thing.
Ex-Yankee Mike Stanley.
One more thing.
And I got to go walk Evelyn, too. So.
Where's that? There it is.
Oh, I know that guy. I actually know that white hair, too.
Wait, he's right here. What are you talking about?
I know the guy underneath my dad, too.
Oh, what? Hold on, my phone's gonna.
I love that you're still a fan, even though you were.
Oh no, I got them all here.
No, that's the coolest shit, man. That's the thing.
Barry Salvino, Dick Weber, Mark.
I love that.
Norm Duke.
Yeah,
Weber, you got everybody, dude. That's
George Asher,
Mark Roth.
Is that Bill? No, that's Scott. Who's that left? No, he's righty.
Glenn Allison.
I see next to Glenn Allison, the black and white photo. I see Dave Sutar below.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Don Carter.
Carter. Thank you. Mike Albee.
There's some of my old stuff back in the day.
Cool, dude.
Yeah, there's Hardwick and Walter and Tony Reyes.
Millionaires Club photo.
The original.
I love
that. The original with all of them signed. I can't get it in there.
That's awesome.
Almost done, dude.
Danny, if you need an Ocho autograph, let me know, and I'll have.
Send it away. Send it.
I will send one of all three of us on the show.
I'll get it like full bowling mode, and we'll take care of it. I want to.
I'm gonna go watch Gutfeld now.
Make the trophy room.
All right, brother. I'm gonna go watch Gutfeld myself. That's actually I'm gonna watch that, and then probably the 95 Splitfire.
That's the funniest stuff. That guy's off the hook. I mean, some of the shit is.
I watch Gutfeld on the 5 almost every single day. It's 5 o'clock.
It's so funny. I mean, oh God, but yeah, that's about it. So, all right, boys, thanks for having me on. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Be well. Be safe. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, man. Good shit.
God, he's so good. I love Danny.
Greg Gutfeld wrote for Maxim magazine. Did you guys know that?
I do.
Remember Maxim?
I do.
I still love that he's a fan. Like, he's even got EJ's autograph. Like, that's baller stuff, dude.
You can tell, like, and I'm assuming it's the exact same thing when it comes to racing too for him. I'm sure he's got everything he's ever done with racing or ever watched with racing. Hi, sweetheart.
Say hi, John.
All right, I promise we're done now. We're done.
Yeah, we're
I thought you were talking to me. Damn it.
I was kind of, but
I do.
The prettier one popped in.
Johnny, I love you, buddy. Ocho, you're just all right.
Great show as always, guys. And thanks to everybody in the chat as always. We love having you here. And that's it.
We love that.
Roll out the outro. Don't forget the outro this time because Nico will get mad.
Yes, we will. I promise, Nico. And I mentioned on my page in our Facebook group that the GOAT, Belmo, should be here when he comes to Reno in a couple of weeks. So we're going to get him back on the show. We're not going to keep him for 2 hours. I already promised him we wouldn't do that again. But he said too easy.
Wait a second. No, let's remember. He said, hey, we all have an hour. And then when we asked him, he was like, nah, I just wanted to say that in case you guys sucked. But he was having such a great time. He was
I don't want to hold him up that long.
That wasn't the issue with that.
Johnny is right, though. When I asked him when he can come on, he said, I can do it from the airport. I'm leaving for home on Sunday. And I'm like, that's Super Bowl Sunday. He's like, oh, I forgot. But that's how classy he is. He was going to literally do it from the airport, like Johnny said.
Belmo's very, very smart, very educated, very forward-thinking. And you can't be that good and that great at something with that many people that hate you or troll you and continue to be that classy if you're not the best.
True story.
That's
easy
all
to be
there
the
is
best.
to
That's it, man.
That's where my utmost respect for Belmo comes in, is the fact that he looks past all of it because he's above all of it.
Except when he put all his trophies.
Not above people. He's above the idiocy of most human beings.
That's fair.
Scroll back to our Belmo episode when he did troll somebody and said, I'm sorry, I was too busy stacking my 7 Players of the Year award.
I was too busy shining my
Tom Brady saying, I'm sorry, I just have to put away all my Super Bowls.
Literally, and he made like this freaking video. That was the best.
Exactly. I mean,
sorry.
Last thing, another epic troll. Bill Belichick showing up at the Super Bowl with his girlfriend, and she has an Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl championship jersey, which they never made, obviously, because the Pats beat them. But that is an epic troll because he wanted to coach for Atlanta, and they wouldn't hire him. So
get out of here! That really happened.
That really happened.
And that's why he's in North Carolina.
Yeah. That's why he's in North Carolina. But that is an epic troll by the GOAT of coaches.
I missed it. She's only like, what, 19 or something?
24.
Yeah, it's close enough.
All right. I was way off. I knew it started with an N.
I knew it started with an S, though.
I do.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Love all of our viewers and listeners here. We'll be back next week for another edition of Straight Up 5 with that guy right down there and that guy right over there.
Thanks,
and
guys.
myself.
Great seeing you tonight.
We'll see you guys next week. Here comes the outro, Nico. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.